Hi everyone, I'm Bernadette McBurney, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to Women in the Spotlight. This series is the opportunity to hear from wonderful women like us and how they show up as leaders in all aspects of their life. They are inspiring, passionate, real, authentic, and they come from all fields, business, sports, education, healthcare. And together we're here to celebrate them, their victories and successes, but also to hear some of the struggles that they went through and learn from them. So today I have the immense privilege to bring to you a woman I really appreciate and respect for many, many reasons. Welcome, Laura.
Hi, thank you, Bernadette. What an honor and a pleasure it is to be with you today.
I've known Laura Bream for a few years as I've been doing work with her, and I love who she is. She's powerful, passionate, caring, and she has a great sense of humor as well. She has passion for arts. She is amazing, supporting arts in the Modesto community in California. She's the vice chair of the Modesto Symphony Board. How often do you hear that? Great dedication and commitment to helping others in their career journey. And she has over 20 years in human resources experience. She's currently the vice president of human resources for a privately held company and a business. I mean, just an incredible company. She has a bachelor's and master's degrees in music, vocal performance, trained opera singer, mezza soprano. I said, again, how often do you hear that? And she's so humble about this. Laura, what else would you like to share with the audience so they can know you a bit better?
Well, you are very kind. Thank you, Bernadette, for all of your kind words. But yes, I am all of those things. But at the core, I'm also a wife. I'm also an aunt. And truly, one of my goals every year is I aspire to be and receive the World's Best Aunt Award to all of the littles in our lives, my nieces, my nephews, and we have many friends who have children as well. And that is my goal and something I go after very aggressively every year.
And I know it brings you so much joy, every time, you mention this, Laura, right?
Oh,
Laura, we've had some really interesting discussion, and you mentioned, a defining moment that happened when you were quite young. It was in college. Tell us more about that, please.
absolutely. So yes, I went to school in a state where I knew no one. And I was a business major when I joined college. And because I didn't know anyone, I got great advice from my dad, which was to sing in the choir. My mother and father said I sang my first word, I didn't speak it. And so I've been singing my whole life. So I joined the choir, which was a wonderful way to gain a social community and really have an outlet as my, through my academic studies. But after that first year as a business major, the voice faculty there at OSU encouraged me to change majors to music. And they said I had the throat of a singer, the shoulders of a singer, the voice of an opera singer, which was very kind of them, but also very scary for me from a security perspective, because I had always felt that I was going to be a business major and a career woman. So I went home, I went to my dorm, I called my parents and I said, Mom, Dad, here's what was brought forward to me today. What do you think? And it was the advice of my father that said, follow your heart and walk with your feet on the ground. And that resonated with me at my core. And so, I thought a lot about it, but that night I said, he's right. I need to do what I am passionate about. And I am passionate about music and studying music. And so I made the leap of faith. I listened to my dad. And the next day I went to the voice faculty and I changed majors. And I went from a business major to a music major, not knowing really what that was going to lead or what that meant for me. longer term, as I knew that I didn't really want to be an opera singer and have the lifestyle of an opera singer, being on stage and kind of the vulnerability and the ambiguity of what that meant. I still felt in my core I needed to walk with my feet on the ground, as my dad said, and have some of that security. But I was following my heart. And I have really felt like that was amazing advice that my dad gave me at that stage. But it was a bit of a risk for me as well to make that switch, but something that I reflect back on often and have really leveraged throughout my career journey.
Right. And really what I'm hearing from you here, Laura, is you ask for help, you ask advice from others, but then also you learn to trust yourself, even though it was scary, right? That's a
Very much so.
that's a great lesson. And I'm sure that as a result, you've grown and really just started to trust yourself even more. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Yeah, I gained kind of an underlying confidence in that decision. So as I continued to, study and perform and really pursue and follow my heart's desire, I became more and more comfortable with that decision and comfortable as to who I was and the decisions I was making, and really learning a lot more about myself. But it did take some self-reflection and continues to take some self-reflection. But I do believe you're absolutely right, Bernadette, that constant trust in who I am, the risk taking that goes along with that, knowing that I'm, maybe not going to know everything, but I'm going to learn it, and I'm going to be surrounded by people who are going to help guide me, and set me up for success.
It's wonderful. Now, Laura, you've also at some point in time, a little later on, sometimes as individual, we may become complacent, so because we're used to the environment that we're in, the situation,
Yeah.
and we may become afraid of taking risk, right? You also faced another time, later on, where you decided to take another risk.
Yeah,
That was a bigger risk, probably at that, right? So tell
it was.
us more about that as well, and how did that show up for you?
Absolutely. So that happened in my first job. So as I mentioned, I knew I didn't want to be a professionally trained opera singer. So I my first place of employment was in the arts. So it was an art museum. So still following very much my heart. But yet at that stage in my career, I was there for a few years, but I found myself a bit complacent and a bit where I wasn't growing, and I maybe wasn't as happy with the work environment and the lifestyle that was associated with living in that area where my place of employment was. And so here I go. I took another risk and a leap of faith. I again relied on that follow your heart and walk with your feet on the ground. And I knew that I wasn't my best self at that life stage. And so I took a risk. I left my place of employment, which was very scary, much more scary than changing a major in college, as so many of us do. But I didn't have a place of employment. I didn't have a plan. I didn't know what that was going to look like, but I knew that staying where I was not going to be my best self, and I was not going to continue to grow and develop and really be happy. And so I left and I went home. And at that stage, my sister was pregnant with my niece. And again, that drive for being the best aunt, I was going to be there when my niece was born. And I was. And it was wonderful and a wonderful joy to be there. But I again relied on advice from my family and from friends who knew me at that time as I thought about what's next. And really needing to figure out what that was going to look like for me. So I was fortunate enough to be able to take that time, but it was a big risk, very scary, yet also trusting in myself that I was going to be okay.
Yes.
At the end of it all, I was going to be okay because I was going to continue to follow my heart and do it while having my feet on the ground.
Right. You know what? It's I find what you're sharing just so inspiring and so important, Laura, because it's about following you, trusting yourself, but also what I'm hearing is making a choice of not compromising who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And quite often we negotiate with ourselves, and it doesn't really serve us. And quite frankly, it doesn't serve anyone else around us.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. Absolutely.
So doing what you've done had, again, as risky as it was, but the beauty and what I'm hearing as well is you found joy and happiness in other places in that time of in that scary moment. And that's part of what we do. So this is just so wonderful to hear, Laura. So, Laura, years forward,
Yeah.
I've known you a few years now in the role that you have. I know you do what you love. You're very passionate about it and dedicated to it. And it shows in every aspect of how you show up, every aspect of how you show up. How did you come to that point? And what did you learn in the process?
Absolutely. So I think you're absolutely right, Bernadette. I love what I do, and it is an honor and a joy to be able to do it. But it wasn't an easy road in some ways. There was, again, the trust in others, the solicitation of advice, asking for help along the way, and taking risks. So the role that I'm in today, I didn't think I was qualified for when I got offered the opportunity. I was, nervous. There was so much work that I had never touched before, responsibilities that I had never been accountable for, and I was scared, and quite candidly at moments. But I also knew that there were people that were encouraging me and supportive of me and who believed in me. And that gave me the strength to trust in myself. And so I've been in the role now for about 4.5 years. I have learned a ton, and I continue every day to make sure that I am open-minded to be able to learn from other people, to try different things and continue to take risks, but all while doing the work and surrounded by people with shared passions, shared goals, and shared values. And I think for me, that's also what brings me joy and continues to have me following my heart.
Right. I think this is just fabulous. And it shows. And I know that you are just driving, and I know you have such an impact around you, Lauren, which is, one of the reasons I so much enjoy, working with you and collaborating in so many different ways. So as we're coming to a close, Laura, you've shared some wonderful gems today. What maybe is the last thought or advice that you can give to everyone who is listening to you? Is you talked about trusting yourself, you talked about taking risk, you talked about doing what you love. Is what might be, for those who maybe say, yeah, but I don't know, who are maybe doubting themselves and all of that, what is the last, advice that you can give them, the last gem that you can give them?
Absolutely. I think surrounding yourself with people who know you. So sometimes we do some self-reflection and we think we know ourselves, but I think listening to other people who also know us,
Yes.
and asking the question, here's what I'm thinking, here's what I know about me, with what you know about me. Do you believe that this would be a good choice? Do you believe that, what advice would you give me? Do you think that this is a good match with my skill, ability, with my passion? And not being afraid to ask other people for advice, and then trusting that advice and taking the first step. And I think once you've taken that first step, you will grow and you will begin to believe in yourself and gain the confidence that others have in you.
Laura, thank you so much. What a pleasure to have you here with us. I can listen to you for so long, and we could have many more conversations. I really want to thank you. It is such an honor and a privilege to have you here with us today. Thank you for giving and sharing your wisdom with everyone here who's listening to us.
Oh, thank you, Bernadette. This was so fun and such a joy. I appreciate our relation so much, and I really hope that something that I said today maybe will be inspiring to other women that are out there and men that are listening.
Absolutely. I have no doubt about that, Laura. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye, and to the next time.